Volume 2, The Book of the Secrets, a new commentary. Discourse number 4, given in Bombay, India.
The first question. In reference to your statement that Tantra is a love technique, please explain why modern man and woman have become incapable of love. Love is spontaneous. It cannot be controlled. You cannot make love. You cannot do anything about it. And the more you do, the more you will miss it. You have to allow it to happen. You are not needed for it. Your presence is the hindrance. The more absent, the better. When you are not, love happens. Because of this, modern man and woman have become incapable of love. They are capable of doing things. The whole modern mind is based on doing. So whatsoever can be done, modern man can do more efficiently than any man that has ever existed. Whatsoever can be done, we can do more efficiently. We are the most efficient century. We have turned everything into technology. How to do it? We have developed in one dimension, and that is the dimension of doing. But in developing this dimension, we have lost much. At the cost of being, we have learned how to do things. So that which can be done, we can do better than anyone, any society that ever existed on earth. But when the question of love comes, the problem arises because it cannot be done. And not only with love, all that which cannot be done, we have become incapable. For example, meditation, we have become incapable. It cannot be done. Play, we have become incapable. It cannot be done. Joy, happiness, we have become incapable because they cannot be done. They are not acts. You cannot manipulate them. On the contrary, you have to let go yourself. Then joy happens to you. Then happiness comes to you. Then love enters you. Then love takes possession. And because of this possession, we have become afraid. Modern mind, modern man wants to possess everything and not being possessed by anything. Modern man wants to be the master of everything. And you can be only masters of things, not of happenings. You can be the master of a house. You can be the master of a mechanical device. You cannot be the master of anything which is alive. Life cannot be mastered. You cannot possess it. On the contrary, you have to be possessed by it. Only then there is contact with it. Love is life. And it is greater than you. You cannot possess it. I would like to repeat it. Love is greater than you. You cannot possess it. You can only allow yourself to be possessed by it. It cannot be controlled. Modern ego wants to control everything. And whatsoever you cannot control, you become scared about it. You are afraid. You close the door. You close that dimension completely because fear enters. You will not be in control. With love, you cannot be in control. And the whole trend which has led to this century was how to control. All over the world, and particularly in the West, how to control nature, how to control everything, how to control energies. Man must become the master. And you have become master. Of course, only of those things which are possible to be possessed. But then side by side, you have been developing the incapacity for those things which cannot be possessed. So you can possess money, you cannot possess love. And because of this, we have been turning everything into a thing, even persons. We go on turning into things, because then you can possess them. If you love a person, you are not the master. No one is the master. Two persons love each other. No one is the master, neither the lover nor the beloved. Rather, love is the master. And both are possessed by a greater force than themselves, encircled by a greater force, a whirlwind. If they try to possess each other, they will miss. Then they can possess each other. Then the lover will become the husband and the beloved will become the wife. Then they can possess. But husband is a thing. Wife is a thing. They are not persons. You can possess them. They are dead entities, legal labels, not alive. We go on turning persons into things just to possess them. And then we feel frustrated. Because we wanted to possess the person. And the person cannot be possessed. When you possess it, it is no more the person, it is a dead thing. And you cannot be fulfilled by a dead thing. So look at this contradiction. You can be fulfilled only by persons, never by things. And your mind desires possession. So you turn them into things. Then you cannot be fulfilled, then frustration sets in. Possessiveness, the attitude to possess, has killed the capacity to love. Don't think in terms of possession. Rather think in terms of being possessed. That is what surrender means, being possessed. You allow yourself to be possessed by something greater than you. Then you will be not in control. Then a greater force will take you. Then the direction will not be yours. Then you cannot choose the goal. Then the future is unknown. You cannot be secure now. Moving with a greater force than yourself, you are insecure, afraid. If you are afraid and insecure, it is better not to move with the great forces. Just work with lower forces than you. Then you can be the master. And you can decide the goal beforehand. And you will get the goal. But you will not get anything out of it. Just you would have wasted your life. The secret of love and the secret of prayer and the secret of anything that can make you fulfilled is surrender. The capacity to be purchased. Because of this. And there are other reasons also, but this is the base. The other reasons, the first, is too much emphasis on intellect, the reason. So man is lopsided. Your head has grown, and your heart has remained absolutely neglected. And love is not a capacity of the intellect. It is a different center. It has a different locus, source. It is your heart. It is your feeling. It is not reasoning, but the whole modern education consists of reasoning, logic, intellect, mind. The heart is not even talked about. It is really denied. It is just a poetic fiction. It is not. It is a reality. Just look at it in this way. If from the very beginning a child is brought up without any training of the mind, any reasoning, any intellectual training, will he have an intellect? He cannot. There have been cases. Sometimes it has happened that wolves have brought a human child. Just 10 years before, one child was cut off from a forest. The wolves have brought him up. He was 14 years of age. He couldn't even stand on two legs. He will run on his force. He couldn't speak a single word. He will roll like a wolf. He was in every way a wolf. 14 years of age. Those who have caught him, they named him Ram. The child took 6 months to learn the name. And within a year, the child died. And the psychologists who were working on him, they suspect that he died because too much strain of intellect. This forcing, training to stand on 2 feet, this memory, remembering the name, this effort to make him a human being killed him. He was robust and healthy when he was caught, more healthy than any human being ever is. He was just like an animal. But this training killed him. And the only proof the child could give of his intellect was this much. After 6 months, constant training, punishment, creating a profit motive. Every effort was done. That if you could have asked, what is your name? He will say Ram. This was the whole intellect. What happened? If someone from Mars gets hold of this child, they will think humanity has no mind, no intellect, no reason. The same has happened to the heart. Without training, it is as if it is not. It has been completely neglected. So your whole life energy has been forced towards the head, not towards the heart. And love is a functioning of the heart center. That's why modern man has become incapable of love, because modern man has become incapable of a heart. He calculates, and love is not a calculation. He knows arithmetic. Love is not arithmetic. He thinks in terms of logic. Love is illogical. He always tries to rationalize everything whatsoever he is doing. Reason must support it. Love is not supported by reason. Really, when you fall in love, you throw your reason completely. That's why we say man falls in love. Falls from where? Falls from the head, down to the heart. And we use this term of condemnation, falling in love, because the head, the reason, cannot look it without condemning it. It is a fall. Really? Is love a fall or a rising? You become more with it or you become less. You expand or you shrink. With love you become more. Your consciousness is more. Your feeling is more. Your aesthetic sensation is more. Your sensitivity is more. You are more alive. But one thing is less. Reasoning is less. You cannot reason it out. It is blind. As far as reason is concerned, it is blind. The heart has its own reasons. That's another thing. And the heart has its own eyes. But that's another thing. The eyes of reason are not there. So reason says it is a fall. You have fallen. Unless the heart center starts functioning again, man will not be capable of love. And the whole misery of modern life is because unless man loves, he cannot feel any meaning in his life. Life looks meaningless. Love gives it meaning. Only love is the meaning. Unless you are capable of love, you will be meaningless. And you will feel that you are existing without any meaning. Futile. And suicide will become attractive. You would like to kill yourself, to finish with yourself, to end. Because what is the use of existing? Mere existing cannot be tolerated. Existence must have a meaning. Otherwise, what is the use? Why go on prolonging yourself unnecessarily? Why go on repeating the same pattern every day? Getting out of the bed and doing the same thing. And again, falling asleep, and the next day the same pattern? Why? You have done it so far. What has happened? And you will do it. Unless death comes and relieves you of your burden. So what is the use? Love gives meaning. Not that through love there any result comes into being or any goal. No. But through love, every moment becomes a value in itself. Then you never ask. If someone asks, what is the meaning of life? Know well that love is lacking. Whenever someone asks, what is the meaning of life? He is asking because he has not been able to flower in a love experience. Whenever someone is in love, he never asks, what is the meaning of life? He knows the meaning. There is no need to ask. He knows the meaning. The meaning is there. Love is the meaning in life. And through love, prayer is possible. Because prayer is again a love relationship. Not between two individuals, but between one individual and existence itself. Then the whole existence becomes your beloved or lover. But it is possible only through love experience that you can grow into prayer or into meditation. And the ultimate ecstasy is just like love. That's why Jesus says, God is love. Not that God is loving. Christians have been interpreting it in that way, that God is kind, loving. That is not the meaning. Jesus says God is love. He simply equals God in love. You can say love or you can say God. They both mean the same. God is not loving. God is love itself. If you can love, you have entered the divine. And when your love grows to such infinity that it is not concerned with anyone in particular, but has become a diffused phenomenon, there is no lover to you. Rather, the whole existence has become, all that is has become the lover or beloved. It has become prayer. And Tantra is a love method. So the first thing is how to love. And then the second thing is how to grow in love so that love becomes prayer. But one must start from love. And don't be afraid of love. Because that fear shows you are afraid of the heart. The head is cunning. The heart is innocent. With head you feel protected. With heart you become vulnerable. Open. Anything can happen. That's why we have become closed. The fear is there. If you are vulnerable, anything can happen to you. Someone can deceive you. With the mind, no one can deceive you. You can deceive others. But I will tell you, be ready to be deceived, but don't close the heart. Be ready to be deceived, but don't close the heart. That is worth it. That vulnerability to be deceived. Because you will not lose anything. And if you are ready to be deceived infinitely, only then you can believe in the heart. If you are calculative, cunning, clever, too much clever, then you will miss the heart. And modern man is so educated, so sophisticated, so clever. That's why he has become incapable of love. Women were not so, but they are following the modern man fast. They are copying the modern man fast. Sooner or later, they will become just like man. Or they may even overtake him. They are also now becoming incapable. Because the same head orientation, the same effort to be cunning and clever is there now. They may call it a lip movement or anything. But it is not heart oriented. It is just a copy of the same stupidity that man has been doing with himself. You may go to the other extreme. But if you follow and react, even in your reaction, you follow. A great crisis is there. It is difficult now to prevent women all over the world, prevent them from copying man and his nonsense. Because man seems to be so successful. He is successful in a way. He has become master of things. Now he possesses the whole world. Now the nature he feels he has conquered. And success succeeds. Nothing succeeds like success. And now women feel man has succeeded and has become the master. They must copy him. But look at the other thing also in which man has failed completely. He has lost his heart. He cannot love. Reason alone is not enough. And reason in control is dangerous. Heart must be higher than reason. Because reason is just an instrument. And heart is you. The heart must be allowed to use reason, not the vice versa. But we have been doing that. The head is allowed to dominate. In its domination, the head has killed the heart. And thirdly, one thing more has to be remembered. Why modern man has become incapable of love. Love is basically a sort of madness. A sort of deep participation with nature. A sort of dissolving the ego. It is primal. You are born out of love. Your every cell of the body is a love cell. Your very energy, life energy, is a love energy. You exist in it. But there is no ego in that energy. You cannot feel I. That energy is unconscious. And when you move in love, you become unconscious. Only a fragment of your mind is conscious. And in that fragment of the mind exists the ego. Mind has three layers. First, the unconscious. When you are deep asleep with no dreams, you are in it. The child in mother's womb is absolutely unconscious. He is just part of the mother. The child is not aware that I am separate. Just part of the mother. No separation. No defined existence. Undifferentiated with the mother. And with the existence itself. There is no fear. Because the fear comes only when you become aware of yourself. The child is totally at ease. He is unconscious. And the second layer is of consciousness. A very small fragment, 1/10th part of the unconscious, has become conscious in you through training, education, society, family, and it was needed to survive. So a part of it has become conscious. But that part also gets tired very soon. That's why you need sleep. In sleep you become again a child in the womb. You have fallen back. The conscious is no more there. It has become part of the unconscious. That's why sleep is so refreshing. In the morning you feel alive again, fresh, because you have fallen back to the mother's womb. You may not have observed. Observe someone deep asleep. More or less he will be in the same posture as he was in his mother's womb. And if you can be in the right posture, sleep will follow more easily. If you feel any difficulty in sleep, just feel your mother's womb, imagine, and take the posture you would have been in the mother's womb. In that posture you will fall asleep deeply. You need the same warmth. Otherwise sleep will be disturbed. The same warmth of your mother's womb. And that's why hot milk is good. If you sip hot milk before you're going into sleep, it will be good, because that again makes you a child. Milk is child food. And if hot, you are again at your mother's breast. Hot milk is good for sleep only because of this reason. You fall back into childhood. You are reduced to be a child. Sleep refreshes you. Why? Because the conscious mind gets tired. It is just a part, and the whole is unconscious. It has to fall down back to the whole. To get a revival, it is again resurrected. That's why morning you feel good, and morning looks beautiful, not because that only morning is beautiful, because again you have children's eyes. The afternoon is not so beautiful. The world is the same, but you have lost those innocent eyes again, and the evening has become ugly. You are tired. You have lived too much in the conscious. This conscious has the center as ego. These are two ordinary states we know. The third state, Tantra and Yoga, are concerned is the superconscious. The superconscious means when your whole unconscious has become conscious. In the unconscious there is no ego. You are total. In the superconscious again there is no ego. You are total. But in between the two, the conscious mind has a center, the ego. This ego is the problem. This ego creates problems. You cannot fall into love, because then you will have to become unconscious, just as unconscious as you become in sleep. Or if you want to rise into prayer, you will have to become totally conscious, like a Buddha or like a Mira. So love becomes impossible, prayer becomes impossible. The ego creates the barriers. You cannot lose yourself. And love is losing, dispersing, dissolving, melting. If you melt in the unconscious, it is love. If you melt into the superconscious, it is prayer. But both are meltings. So what is to be done? Remember this. You cannot do anything about it. Let it be deeply noted. You cannot do anything about love, about prayer. Your conscious mind is important. It cannot do anything. It has to be lost. It has to be put aside. And then remember surrender. Whenever you want to move beyond yourself, surrender is the way. Either in love or in prayer. Whenever you long to move beyond, somewhere else where you are not, surrender. Let go is the path. Allow some things to happen to you. Don't manipulate. And once you know how to allow, many things will start happening. You may not be even aware what is possible to you. What a great, tremendous energy you have closed within yourself, which can explode and can become an ecstasy. And whole life will be filled with consciousness, light and bliss. But you don't know. Just like every atom is an atom bomb. If it explodes, tremendous energy is released. And every heart is also an atom bomb. If it explodes in love or prayer, tremendous energy is released. But you have to explode and lose yourself. The seed has to lose itself. Only then the tree is born. And if the seed resists and says, no, I must survive, then the seed can survive. But the tree will never be born. And unless the tree is born, the seed will feel frustrated, because the tree is the meaning. The seed will feel frustrated. The seed can feel fulfilled only when the tree is there, flowering. But then the seed has to lose himself, die. Modern man has become incapable of love because he has become incapable of death. He cannot die to anything. He clings to life, cannot die to anything. In Old English, 300 or 400 years before, this was a usual expression. The lover will say to the beloved, I want to die in you. This was a love expression. Beautiful. I want to die in you. Love is a death. Death of the ego. And only then your real self is born. And modern man is very, very afraid of death. In any way, surrender is death. Love is death. And life also is a continuous death. If you are afraid, you will miss life itself. Be ready to die every moment. Die to the past, die to the future, and die in the present moment. Don't cling and don't resist. Don't make any effort for life, and you will have abundant life. Life will happen to you if you are ready to die. This looks paradoxical, but this is the law. Jesus says, one who is ready to lose will gain. And one who clings will lose everything. Second question. You said last night that the periphery is always changing, whereas the innermost center is eternally unmoving. To realize the center, is it necessary that the peripheral movements must cease? Can they cease? How and when? Then you have missed the whole point. The whole point was, don't make any effort to change the periphery. Allow the periphery as it is. And you cannot change it. It is the nature of the periphery to move and change. You cannot make it static. Nature is flux. It is so. You cannot make it static. And don't waste your time and opportunity in life to make it static. Just know it is change. Be the witness of it. And you will come to feel the innermost center, which is not change. The world is change. Your personality is change. Your body, mind is change. But you are not. You are not the change. So what is the use struggling with the change? No need. Tantra says, please be re-established in your center. Be aware of the center which is unmoving. And allow the whole existence to move. It is not a disturbance at all. It becomes only disturbance if you cling to it, or if you try to make it unmoving. Then you are falling in absurdities, foolish efforts. They will not succeed. You will be a failure. Know well that life is a change. But somewhere hidden in this change is an unmoving center also. Just become aware of it. That very awareness is enough to liberate you. That very feeling that I am unmoving liberates. That's the truth. You know it, and you are different. Don't fight with shadows. And whole life is a shadow, because change is nothing but shadow. The unchanging is the real. The changing is the unreal. So don't ask that to realize the center, how the peripheral change and movement has to be forced to cease. There is no need, and you cannot force it. It cannot cease. The world goes on. Only it will not go on in you. You can remain in the world, and there is no need for the world to be in you. The world is not a disturbance. When you get involved in it, when you become the change, or you feel that you have become the change, then it creates problems. Problems are created not by the changing periphery. They are created by the identification that I am this change. You have fallen ill. Illness is not really the disturbance. When you feel that I have fallen ill, it is disturbance. If you can be a witness of that illness, illness is happening somewhere on the periphery. It is not happening to you. It is happening to someone else. You are just the witness. Then death also can happen, but you will be just the witness. Alexander was returning back from India. Some friends in his country had requested him to bring a sannyasin from India. And when you come with conquered possessions, don't forget, they have said, bring a sannyasin also. We want to see what a sannyasin is. What type of a man is one who renounces the world? What has happened to him who renounces all desires? What type of bliss comes to him who leaves all hankering, thirst, all hunger for future, possessions, things. Just in the last moment, Alexander remembered. So in the last town where he was to leave India, back to his country, he told his soldiers to go and find out a sannyasi. So they went to the town and they asked the old man of the town. So they said, yes, there is a sannyasin, a great sannyasin, but it will be difficult. It is very difficult to persuade him to go with Alexander to Athens. But the soldiers were soldiers. They said, you don't be worried about it. He can force anyone. So you don't get worried about it. Just tell us where he is. And we know how to force him. There is no need to persuade. And if Alexander says to your whole town to follow him, you will have to follow. So what of a single sannyasi? But the old man laughed. And the soldiers couldn't understand. Because they have never encountered a sannyasi. So they reached to the sannyasi and he was standing naked on the bank of the river. And they told him that Alexander's orders that you have to come with us. And every care will be taken. No inconvenience will be for you. You will be the royal guest, but you have to come with us to Athens. The sannyasin laughed. And he said, it will be very difficult for your Alexander to take me with himself. No force in this world can force me to follow. So it is better. You will not be able to understand. Bring your Alexander. Alexander was disturbed, felt insulted, but he wanted to see this man. He came with a naked sword. And he said, if you say no, then immediately you lose your life. I will cut your head. The name of the sannyasi was, as it is reported in Alexander's regard, Gandhi. The sannyasi said, he again laughed and said, but you came late, a little late. You cannot kill me now because I have killed myself already. You are a little late. You can cut my head, but you cannot cut me because I have become a witness. So when this head will fall down on the earth, you will also see it falling down and I will also see it falling down. But you cannot cut me, you cannot even touch me. So don't waste time. You can cut. Raise your sword and cut the head. Alexander couldn't kill that man. It was impossible because it was useless. The man was so beyond death. It was impossible to kill him. Only you can be killed if you cling to life. That clinging to the changing pattern makes you immortal. If you don't cling, you have always been an immortal. Immortality is your birthright. It has always been there. You become immortal if you cling. So there is no question, there is no need to force the changing periphery, to make it static. There is no need, and you cannot make it. It will go on. The wheel will go on. All that you can do is to know that you are not the wheel. You are the axis, not the wheel. Question. Man being as he is it not difficult for him to dissolve change through change, sex through sex, etc., without attachments, with their consequent anxiety and disappointment? Man as he is can do this. And this is suggested only for the man as he is. Tantra is a medicine for you, for those who are ill. So don't think that it is not for you, it is for you. And you can do it. But you will have to understand what is meant. When you say that there is the possibility of falling in attachments, and then the consequences will be there, and frustration, you have not understood. Consume change through change means, even if there is attachment, don't fight with it. Be attached. But be a witness also. Let the attachment be there. Don't fight with it. Tantra is a non-fighting process. Don't fight with it. Frustration will come, of course. So be frustrated. But be a witness also. You know well you were attached. You were a witness. Now the frustration has come. You know well it has to come. Now be frustrated. But be a witness. Then through attachment, attachment is consumed. And through frustration, frustration is consumed. Try this. When you feel miserable, be miserable. Don't fight with it. Try this. It is wonderful. When there is misery and you feel miserable, close your doors and be miserable. Now what you can do? You are miserable, so you are miserable. Now be totally miserable. Suddenly you will become aware of the misery. And if you try to change it, you will never become aware because your effort, your energy, your consciousness is directed towards change. How to change this misery? Then you started thinking how it came. And now what to do to change it? And you are missing a very beautiful experience, the misery itself. Now you are thinking about the causes and you are thinking about the consequences and you are thinking about the methods, how to forget it, how to go beyond it, and you are missing misery itself. And misery is there, and that can be liberating. Just don't do anything. Don't analyze how the misery is created. Don't think what consequences are going to follow. They will follow so you can see later on. There is no haste. Be miserable, simply miserable, and don't try to change it. Try this for how many minutes you can remain miserable. You will start laughing about the whole thing. The whole thing will look stupid. Because if you are totally miserable, suddenly your center is beyond. That center can never be miserable. It is impossible. If you remain with the misery becomes the background, and your center, which can never be miserable, suddenly rises above. And then you are miserable, and you are not miserable. The same, unsame. Now you are consuming misery through misery. This is what is meant. You are not doing anything, you are simply consuming misery through misery. Misery will disappear as clouds disappear. And the sky will be open. And you will be laughing. And you have not done anything. And you cannot do anything. All that you can do, you can create more confusion and more misery. Who has created this misery? You. And now you are trying to change it. It will get worse. You are the creator of the misery. You have created it. You are the source. And now the source itself is trying. What can you do? Now the patient is treating himself. And he has created the whole thing. Now he is thinking of surgery. It is suicidal. Don't do anything. The insight is very deep. Try this. You have tried so many times to stop misery, to stop depression, to stop this and that, and nothing has happened. Now try this. Don't do anything. Allow the misery to be there in its totality. In the full intensity, allow it to happen. And remain non-doing. Just be with it and see what happens. Life is change. Even Himalaya is changing. Your misery cannot be unchanging. It will change by itself. And you will see that it is changing. Now it is disappearing. Now it is going away. And you will feel unburdened. And you have not done anything. Once you know the secret, you can consume anything through itself. But the secret is to be silently without doing anything. Anger is there, be. Just be. Don't do anything. If you can do this much, this non-doing, if you can just be there, present, witnessing, but making no effort to change anything, allowing the things to have their own way, you will consume anything. You can consume anything. The last question. Tantra says, do not struggle or swim, but let go and float in the river of life. But experience shows that modern city life of speed and heavy technology creates constant tensions and exertions, physically and mentally. What will be the Tantra attitude about it? Is it not good to avoid unnecessary exertions? Life has always been so, modern or primitive. Tensions are there. Anxieties are there. Objects change. Man remains the same. 2000 years back, you were driving a bullock cart, now you are driving a car. But the driver remains the same. The bullock cart has changed. Things are different now. You are driving a car. But the driver remains the same. He was anxious about his cart, tense about his cart. Now you are tense and anxious about your car. Objects change. The mind remains the same. So don't think that because of the modern life, you are so much in anxiety. It is because of you, not because of modern life. And you will be in anxiety anywhere, in any type of civilization. Go to a village. For a few days, 2 or 3 days, you will feel good. Because even diseases need readjustment. Within 3 days, you will be readjusted to village. And now anxieties will start coming. Disturbances will be felt again. No, the same will not be the causes, but you are the same. Sometimes it happens that you may be disturbed because of city traffic and noise. And you may be saying that you cannot sleep in the night because there is so much traffic and noise. And go to a village, and you will not be able to sleep because there is no traffic and no noise. And you will have to come back. That the village looks dull, dead, there is no life. People go on reporting to me. One friend, I told him to go to Kashmir, to Pahalgam. He came back and said, life is dull there. There is no life. And you can enjoy for 1 or 2 days valleys and hills, and then one gets bored. And he was telling me here that city life is getting on my nerves. And now he says those hills. I was getting bored. And I started longing back, how to come back to home. You are the problem. Kashmir will not be of any help. It is not Bombay that disturbs you or London or New York. It is you. And it is not that London has created you, you have created the London. It is not that this traffic and this noise and this mad rush. You have created this. You and others like you. Look, the cause is within you. It is not that you are tense because of noise. The noise is there because you are tense and you cannot live without it. That's why it is there. You need it. You cannot live without it. And in village, people are suffering. They want to come to Bombay, to New York, to London. And the moment they get the opportunity, they run from there. And I have been listening to people who go on talking about the beautiful village life, but they never go to live there. They never go to live there. They simply talk about it. Who prevents you? Why not go? Go to the forest. Who prevents you? You will not like it. You cannot like it. Right now you will like it for a few days because it is a change. And then you will get bored, dull. And then you would like to escape from there. This city life is created by your mad mind. You are not getting mad because of these cities. These cities are built because of your mad mind. They are built for you and by you, and they exist for you. And unless this mad mind changes, these cities cannot disappear. They will have to remain. They are your byproduct. Remember one thing. Whenever you feel something wrong, first find out the cause in yourself. Don't go anywhere. Out of 100, 99 times, you will find the cause within you. And if you can find out of 199% causes within you, the 100th will disappear by itself. You are the cause. Whatsoever is happening to you, you are the cause. And the whole world is just a mirror. But it is consolatory always to find the cause somewhere else. Then you never feel guilt. You never feel self-condemned. You can always point out, here is the cause. And unless this cause changes, how can I change? You can escape in it. This is a trick. So always your mind goes on projecting causes somewhere else. The wife is disturbed because of the husband. The mother is disturbed because of the children. The children are disturbed because of the father. Everyone is disturbed because of someone else. And everyone always thinks that the cause exists outside. Mullah Nasruddin was passing down a street. It was evening and the darkness was descending. Suddenly he became aware the street was empty, no traffic. And he became afraid. A group of people was coming towards him and he was reading about dacoits, robbers, murderers. So he created fear. He started trembling. He projected. Now these murderers and dacoits are coming and they are bound to kill me. So how to escape them? He saw all around there was a cemetery. So he jumped the wall of the cemetery. And there was a ready-made grave for someone. So he thought it is good to be dead in this grave. They will feel he is dead, there is no need to murder. So Mullah lied down. The group was just a marriage procession. But they saw this man trembling, jumping, so they became afraid. What is the matter? Who is this man? Seems to do some mischief. He is hiding there. So the whole procession stopped. They jumped the wall. Mullah became more afraid, but now they came near. And they asked, what are you doing here? Why are you here in this grave? So Mullah said, you are asking a very difficult question. I am here because of you, and you are here because of me. And this is happening everywhere. You are disturbed because of someone else. He is disturbed because of you. And just creating everything around you, projecting, and then getting afraid, scared, making efforts to defend, and then misery and frustration and conflict and depression and fighting them. The whole thing is stupid. And it will remain unless you change the attitude and always try first to find the cause within you. How the traffic noise can disturb you? How? If you are against it, it will disturb. If you have the attitude that it disturbs, it will disturb. But if you are accepting, allowing it to happen, with no reaction, you may even start enjoying it. It has its own melody, its own music. You have not heard, that doesn't mean that it has not its own music. Someday forget yourself and just listen to the traffic noise. Just listen. Don't bring your attitudes that this is disturbing, this is not good. Don't bring your attitudes. Just listen to the melody. In the beginning it will look chaotic. That too is because of the mind. If you relax totally, sooner or later everything will fit in a harmonious whole. And even the traffic noise will become musical. And you can enjoy it. And you can dance to its tune. It depends on you. Nothing disturbs unless you think that it disturbs. For example, I will tell you. Many things have disturbed humanity because there was a certain concept that they disturb. When the concept changes, the things remain the same, but they don't disturb. For example, masturbation disturbed the whole world. Just half century before, the whole world was disturbed by masturbation. Every teacher, every father, every mother was disturbed, and every child was disturbed. And still, on the larger, ignorant world, the disturbance remains. And then physiologists, psychologists discovered that masturbation cannot disturb anyone. It is natural. And nothing is wrong with it. Nothing absolutely wrong with it. But old teaching was that if you get mad, it is because of masturbation. If you are not getting higher ranks into education, it is because of masturbation. If you are ill, it is because of masturbation. Everything was forced down, reduced to masturbation. And more or less every child was doing it. Every boy was doing it. So every boy was afraid. He was doing it, and he was afraid now he is going to be mad, inferior, crazy, eccentric, ill, and the life is wasted. And he couldn't resist. He had to do it, and these ideas entered in his mind. And they had effects. They affected many went mad. Many remained inferior. Many remained stupid because of it. And it has no relationship at all. And the modern science, the modern research says, rather it is healthy. The medical science says it is good. Because at the age of 14 or 13, the boy, or at the age of 12 and 13, the girl, they become sexually mature. If nature is allowed, they must get married immediately. They are ready to reproduce. But civilization, necessity forces, they will have to remain unmarried for 10 years at least, or even more. And medicine says 14 to 20, these 6 years, are the most potent sexually. Now the boy will never be so potent again as he is now. The energy is bubbling up. The whole body is ready to burst in sex. And the society says, no, the energy should not be allowed to move. But the energy is moving and the child cannot do anything. And whatsoever he is going to do will have effects because of the philosophy around. He will feel he is doing something wrong. He will feel guilt. And that guilt will follow as a shadow. And many diseases will happen because of the idea, not because of the act. Medicine says it is healthy because he is relieved of unnecessary energy. Otherwise that unnecessary energy will create problems. So it is healthy. Now they are propagating, particularly in America, England, and other Western developed countries who know much more about physiology. Now they are propagating masturbation. Now there are films to show to the children how to masturbate. And every teacher will be teaching sooner or later how to masturbate rightly. And they say it is healthy. And now those who think it is healthy, they feel very healthy about it. I don't think it is either. It is neither healthy nor unhealthy. The idea. If it is healthy, and the concept is stretched, it will become healthy. Now they say, not only that masturbation never affected anyone's intelligence, they say, better the intelligence, more masturbation will be there. So a boy who is masturbating more will be of higher IQ than the boy who is not masturbating. And they have reasons to say. Because even to find out masturbation is a sign of intelligence, because he is finding out a way. The society has closed the door for marriage. And the nature is forcing the energy. The intelligent one will find out a way, and the non-intelligent one will be just blocked. He will not be able to find out the way. And now the studies show that those boys who masturbate, they are more intelligent. If this idea is stretched, and it is bound to be there, sooner or later the whole world will be under this idea, then masturbation will be healthy and you will feel well-being. Now every parent is afraid, because the parent knows what he did when he was young. When his boy becomes young and comes to the same age, he becomes afraid. And he starts looking around what the boy is doing. He is afraid, and if he finds the boy, he will punish. But the new knowledge says, don't punish the boy, rather teach him. And if he is not doing, then go to the doctor and find out what is wrong. If this becomes a well-spread knowledge, then it will happen. But both are suggestions. Both are suggestions. And when some boy masturbates, he is very suggestive in that moment. Because when sexual energy is being released, he becomes vulnerable, open, flexible, and his mind is silent. Any idea put in that moment will have effects. So if you say you are going to be ill because of it, he will feel. If you say you are going to be healthy because of it, he will become healthy. If you say you will be stupid all your life if you do this, he will remain a dunce. If you say now, this is a good sign of intelligence, he may get a higher IQ. You are simply suggesting in a very vulnerable moment. Whatsoever you think starts happening. Buddha is reported to have said that every thought will become a thing. So be aware. If you think that the traffic noise disturbs you, it will disturb you. You are ready for disturbance. If you think a family life is bondage, it will be a bondage to you. You are ready for it. If you think that poverty will help, and poverty will make you liberated, it will help. It is you, ultimately, who is creating a world around you. And whatsoever you think becomes the new sphere, the milieu, and you exist in it. Tantra says, remember this causality. It is always within you. And if you know this, then you will not cause anything. If you know this, you will not cause anything for yourself. And when someone is not causing anything, he is liberated. Then he is not in misery and not in bliss. Remember this. Bliss is also your creation. Misery is also your creation. You can change your misery into bliss because they are your creations. And the liberated one, really the enlightened one, is neither. Because he has ceased to cause anything around him. He simply is. That's why Buddha never says that the enlightened one is blissful. Whenever someone asks him, tell us something about one who has gone beyond, whether he is in perfect bliss, Buddha laughs and he says, don't ask. I can say only this much, that he is not in misery. I cannot say anything more. He is not in misery, that's all I can say. Why so much insistence on the negative? Because Buddha knows when you have come to know that you were the cause of your misery, then you know well that the bliss also is caused by you. And then one ceases to cause anything. That is what nirvana is. Cessation of causing anything around you. Then you are simply no misery, no bliss. And if you can understand, only this is bliss when there is no misery and no bliss. Because if there is bliss, misery is there. You are still causing something. And if you can cause bliss, you can cause misery. And you will get bored of the bliss also. How much you can stand it? How much? Have you ever thought that 24 hours in bliss, will you be able to extend it? You will get bored. And you will go on seeking teachers who can teach you how to get miserable again.